Hey everybody, it's me again. It's been a while since I've last posted a video, but I've been getting a lot of requests from some of my subscribers for another Bible review video, so I wanted to just come on here and um, show you my latest discovery and newest Bible that has been kind of at the top of my review list. First things first, just thank you all who have been subscribed to my channel, who've been watching my videos. I honestly didn't think anybody was going to watch these when I put them up, but I'm glad to see that there are many other people out there who are looking for different Bibles, different Bible translations. They're looking for something different than just the normal everyday translation that they read. So I thank you all for watching. And then also, I know my camera is not very good. It's a standard camera that comes with a laptop. Maybe one day if I get enough views, I will purchase a legit YouTube camera or something. So I apologize for the quality of the video, and I'm wearing headphones because my mic is not working very well. So I do hope that you can hear me. But anyway, let's get started. So the Bible that I recently found and I want to talk about is the She Reads Truth Bible. So some of you may have heard of this Bible. It's a relatively new Bible. It came out, I think, earlier this year. In fact, when I bought the Bible, I bought it off of Amazon, and it was actually sold out. And so I waited like a couple of months, and they said, oh, we're still waiting for, it was on back order. So I went back and I ordered my second copy. I just canceled the order from Amazon and I ordered from Christian Book. So if you'd like a copy, you can go to Christian Book. You can also find it on Amazon, but christianbook.com is usually pretty good. But here's the Bible. It's a little bit bigger than your standard personal Bible, so it's not really quite small enough to put in a purse unless you have like a really big tote bag like I do, but it's pretty thick for a personal Bible, and it does have Bible tabs. If you can the lighting is so terrible. If you can see those right there. So there's Bible tabs on it. Now it's called the She Reads Truth Bible, and I'm just going to preface this before I get too deep into it. Men, this is a women's Bible. It's called She Reads Truth because it is really more so for women. It doesn't mean that if you're a guy you can't have one, but it has a lot of floral prints and a lot of kind of girly things in it. And so this is really a good gift for your wife, or maybe even your mother or your sister. If they're looking for a new Bible, this is really great to a really great gift for them, whether it's a birthday present or a Mother's Day present. Really good Bible for them to get. Now the one I got is in navy blue. It's like a faux leather. They do have hard copies, so they have kind of a salmon colored hard copy that they really feel kind of like a textbook. Now, granted, I'm not much a fan of the hard copy Bibles because they do feel like a textbook to me, and it's kind of hard to carry around. But some people, like my husband, he loves hard copy Bibles. I'm more of a fan of the soft cover. I like to be able to move it around and throw it in my bag if I need to and not feel like it's weighing me down a lot. So I prefer the leather, but they do have a lot of different colors in the hard copy. So just make a note of that, ladies, if you are looking for a new Bible. Now, some of the features that I really like about this Bible is, one, it does have tabs, but one of the main draws for this Bible, it's not your typical study Bible. There are no like real study notes. There's occasional footnotes and things like that, but this is not a study Bible. So let me also just make that clear too. So if you are looking for a study Bible, again, I would kind of point you in the direction of like the NLT Life Application Study Bible, or even the NIV Life Application Study Bible, some Life Application Study Bible. Those are really good Bibles to get for study purposes. But this is more so if you are looking for maybe a fresh view. You want a new Bible. It's been a while since you've got a new Bible. You want a fresh look at the Bible, and this has really a lot of aesthetic value. So I'll show you a picture. There's pictures in this Bible that I love pictures. In case you haven't seen any of my other videos, check out my other videos if you want to learn more about other Bibles I have that have those. But one of the things I love about this Bible is the pictures. And they basically, the people who created this Bible really took the time to get artist drawings and different pictures put into it with really beautiful coloring. So for instance, hopefully you can see this. This is the one that's in the book of Ruth. So it's got like flowers, and it's kind of backwards on here, but basically they take the main verse of the book of that Bible and they put it in the front. So the wording here says, "May his name become well known in Israel." So that's a key verse in the book of Ruth. Also, they have, at the beginning, they have not only the picture, but they also have kind of a timeline, a little bit of a background on the book, so that's really cool. And then they also have kind of deeper passages. So right here you can see, I know you can't see it that well, but they do have like week 1, week 2, like going deeper. If you want to cross-reference your verses in the Bible, you can. They'll give you verses to cross-reference them. So they have like Ruth 1, 1 through 5, and then they also have Deuteronomy 25, 5 through 10, and 1 Timothy. So they cross-reference those, so those are really cool. This Bible also has little mini devotionals, which is also something I like. So if you can see this, this is one of the devotionals that they have in it. And they're very brief, written by different authors who just kind of talk about different topics as it relates to the chapters that you're reading in the Bible. Something else that's really cool about, oh, here's another picture. So pictures and artwork, love that kind of stuff. So really, that's a really big draw. It's just the beautiful colors. They really took a lot of time. You can tell that they really took a lot of time focusing on the colors in this Bible. And let's see, at the back, there's a table of contents in the back, like most Bibles have. There's maps. This is a picture of one of the maps. So it's a little unique. It's kind of cool. And then one thing I really like, oh, here in the back, is that there's reading plans. So as you're going through the Bible, you can check off which, you can do it chronologically. And so like for the month of March, you can read, 2 books in the Old Testament, 2 books in the New Testament, and it kind of helps you kind of chronologically get through the Bible. And there's little check marks, check boxes. So as you're reading through, you can check off which days you've read. So I think that that's helpful. That's kind of cool. Also, this Bible has not 1, but 2 bookmarks. I love having 2 bookmarks because you can bookmark something in the Old Testament and you can bookmark something in the New Testament, which is really cool too. What else is in this Bible? The font is, it looks to be about 12 font, 12 size font. So the font is, it's not super big, but it's not super small either. So if you have trouble reading, you might need reading glasses. If you don't have that much trouble reading, you should be able to read it just normally. These aren't really reading glasses. I just kind of wear them for like computer use and stuff. But the font is actually, I think, a pretty good size. Like I said, it is pretty thick, so it's not like your traditional like throw in your purse bag. When you bring this, you just want to be aware it is a little heavy. It weighs probably about maybe 3-4 pounds. I don't know. I'm probably exaggerating. I really don't know, but it is kind of heavy, so just be aware of that. And then on the side, it has just the inscription of "She reads." Hopefully you can see that. She reads truth. And Christian Standard Bible. Okay, so this is something I want to get into real quick, is the translation. So this Bible is the Christian Standard Bible, or CSB translation. So some of you may not be very familiar with that translation. I wasn't very familiar with it when I first bought the Bible. I'd heard of it, I'd seen it on my Bible app, but I never really used it that much because personally I'm more of a fan of the NLT version. And if you're not sure of that version, I talk a lot about it in my other video. Check out my video in which I talk about all the Bibles I have, and I do talk about that one, and I have it bookmarked in the title section. But the CSB Bible translation I found to be in the spectrum. On the left side you have more of word for word reading, and that's where you get the like your NASB, your ESV, your King James. Those are the more like word for word translation, and those are, people consider those to be the more accurate, although, you know, how do you really define accurate? Because word for word can be, you can say word for word, but if you translate it into today's reading and verbiage, it may not mean the same thing as it did back then. So it can be a little wooden sometimes. So it is good to have a word for word translation. I'm really a fan of supplementing translations, so that you don't just use just one, but actually use more than one, and use like a word for word and a thought for thought, which is on the other side of the spectrum on the right side. And those, the thought for thought, or the more dynamic equivalents is the proper term, those are a little bit more quote unquote easier to read for your more average readers. So if you grew up reading the so one thing I want to just talk about real quick, is these translations. So the as I was saying, the CSB version is more so on the dynamic equivalence, thought for thought version side of the spectrum, which would be on the right side of the spectrum. So if you are familiar with the NLT version, it's a lot more thought for thought, or dynamic equivalent, but it's really, really easy to read. And then all the way on the right side of the spectrum, you have the very paraphrasic, which is the Message Bible. If you are familiar with that version, I do not recommend only reading from that version. It's nice as a supplement, but you really should have one from both ends of the spectrum, just to kind of give you additional insight. So just to kind of help you sort of gauge the kind of understanding of the CSB, I mean, I like the CSB version, but I have to be honest, I still kind of tend to go back to the NLT version a lot. So there's this site, csbbible.com, and it allows you to kind of compare and contrast the different versions in comparison to the CSB, and why they think the CSB is a really good version. So it is more modernized. I'll read a popular scripture, John 3:16. So most of us are probably familiar with the rendering, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life. That's John 3:16 in the ESV. Use that because it's more closely related to the King James. But the CSB version writes it as, for God loved the world in this way, and he gave his one and only son, so that everyone who believes in him will not perish but have eternal life. So that they explain that in this way is the correct translation of the Greek hotos, which is a word that indicates more of the manner in which God loved the world rather than the extent to which he loved it. One and only son is a more accurate translation of the Greek monogenes. So the authors say that the CSB version, in how they translate in this way, for God loved the world in this way, is more of an accurate translation to the Hebrew, instead of saying for God so loved the world, which is fine. But if you want a more accurate rendering, then it looks like the CSB has a better translation there. I'll pick another verse, just so you can kind of see the difference there. One thing about this version, and a lot of the modern versions are doing this, I've come to realize, is getting rid of the gender-specific usage. So when we're used to reading in like the King James or even the ESV or maybe even the NASB, which is more on the left side of the spectrum, when Paul is writing to the Corinthians or to the church, he says brethren or brothers. A lot of the modern translations are starting to not say brethren or brothers. They want to get rid of the gender specific, and they're translating it to say brothers and sisters. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that, because when you say brethren, you really are talking to brothers and sisters, but a lot of the modern versions are starting to do that, so it's kind of hard to get away from unless you stick to like a more, like an older version like the King James or New King James, or even the ESV, which tries to kind of stay a little close to the King James. So it really just depends on preference there. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with saying that, but that's just a little bit of a difference that that they make there. Trying to find a really good difference that you can see here. So another one is 1 Peter 5:8, and in the ESV, or really, let me go back to the NLT. NLT says, "Stay alert, watch out for your great enemy, the devil. He prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour." But the CSB, which actually is kind of a, if you're familiar with the Holman Christian Standard Bible, this is kind of a stem off from that. It's actually very similar to the Holman Christian Standard Bible, except they've tweaked it a bit more to what I think they think is a little bit more of an accurate translation, even more so the Holman. And I find the Holman translation pretty good. It's not my favorite version to read from by any means. So the Holman Christian Standard Version says, be serious, be alert. Your adversary, the devil, is prowling around like a roaring lion looking for anyone he can devour. So the CSB changes it to, be sober-minded, be alert. Your adversary, the devil, is prowling around like a roaring lion looking for anyone he can devour. So they explain it to say that the words be serious sound rather flippant in today's idiom, and this rendering avoids that connotation. So that's why they changed that verbiage. I'm trying to find a really good one. So God. Okay, so another one here, in Amos 4:6, I gave you cleanness of teeth in all your cities, and lack of bread in all your places, yet you did not return to me, declares the Lord. And that was in the ESV. The CSV reads, I gave you absolutely nothing to eat in all your cities, a shortage of food in your communities, yet you did not return to me. This is the Lord's declaration. So their explanation here is that cleanness of teeth is a Hebrew idiom meaning hunger, not good dental hygiene. So they render this to give more clarity for a modern audience. So again, the focus of the CSB was to try to be more definitely accurate to the Hebraic text, which is a good thing, but they want it to be more readable to a modern day audience, because the kind of the struggle you find with the more left side of the spectrum word for word translations is that some of the Hebrew idioms can get lost in translation. So if you translate, cleanness of teeth, which is a Hebrew idiom, word for word, that's quote unquote accurate, but really the meaning is lost on me as a modern day reader. So really, what's the point? We want to be able to also understand the word. We can read the word, but if we don't understand the word, if we're not comprehending it, then really it's doing a disservice. So that's why for people who want to read different translations that are word for word, that's totally fine. People can choose to read whatever translation they want to read. But if you want a more readable version, and this is why I use both. I don't use just one. I use more than one version because different versions provide different insight. They all say the same thing. Nothing, they're not changing the words to mean something entirely different. But they are more readable and more understandable. So I might read it in the ESV or even the NASB and read cleanness of teeth, and I'm like, what? Okay, wait, what does that mean? I know that's an old phrase. I don't know what that means today. So I can read it in the CSB or even probably in the NLT in a more modern version and have it written out in a way that I can understand. So I think the CSB is a good version. I probably switch between the NLT and the TLV more, but I do like the CSB version as a translation. So if you are looking for readability, and if you are looking for a good gift for your wife, daughter, sister, friend, who maybe is looking for a new Bible, the She Reads Truth Bible I would say it's a good Bible to get, and I'm in favor of it. So if you have any questions about the Bible, or if you have any other versions that you would like me to review, please leave a note below and let me know what you think. And I will see you all soon.